Okay.
All right. Thank you, Laser. We appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us at our, let me remember the name, our Employee Governance Committee. It is 5:05 and we are getting started. I'm calling this meeting to order. On it, as you can see, Dr. Reynolds is our liaison, along with Dr. Chase is the ex officio officer of this committee. I am serving as the chair. Tracy Mears is serving as the secretary. And the third board member that is on this committee is Ms. Cora Carey. I think at our last meeting, Dr. Reynolds, you explained how it was set up. We would have representatives from each of our different unions. And Dr. Reynolds, could you just briefly give us a summary of the charges that we developed? I would also say before that gets started today is just to, one, confirm, make sure that everybody is going to be the members. And if not, I know if you can't come, you can send a representative from your union. We just need to know that in advance, and we need to pick a date for our next meeting.
Thank you very much, President Darden. And through the president, I would like to share the charges for the committee and what the vision really is. So what was established by the committee prior to this meeting is that this organization will be comprised of 2 executive council members from each of the bargaining units. So 2 members from Greenburgh Civil Service Organization, 2 from the Greenburgh Administrators Organization, and 2 from the Greenburgh Teachers Federation. The recommended charges, it is recommended that the charge of the Employment Governance Committee includes but is not limited to the review of any of the employment, labor relations, and compliance related policies and procedures to ensure conformance with New York State Education Department laws, board policies and procedures, and collectively bargained agreements in order to enhance staff experiences, support a positive working environment, and ensure optimal working experiences for all of our faculty, staff, and administration. And to recommend actions to the full Board of Education based on committee meeting discussions. Madam President?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Reynolds. Does anybody have like any questions at all about our charges or any thoughts about them? Okay, you guys seem like an easy bunch. Okay, so I guess we said two executive union leaders each. I guess we can start with Mr. Tokarski. So I'm assuming you are one of them and Mr. Bell is the other?
Yes, Mr. Bell. I just gave him the password, so he's momentarily will be in.
Okay. All right. Mr. Smith, and Miss, you correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Simone and Mr. Smith, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Thank you.
For clarity, Antoinette, just because I'm trying to type the minutes.
Yes.
Should I put positions? Ms. Simone, are you the GAO president?
President.
And
I
then
am
Mr. Smith is the vice president?
No, he is a member.
Representative? Okay.
Yes.
So can I put representative?
Sure.
Okay, great.
Okay. Mrs. Tokarski, you are VP, right?
Yes. Yep. Secondary vice president. Yes.
Okay. President. All right, Vicky.
Yep.
Tell me who, are you the president?
Yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, is this
GCSO.
Oh, all right. And do you have a vice president or second person?
I have Karen Walsh, and she is membership and every
Chair.
Okay, do you want me to put membership chair or representative? Or does it?
I have membership chair down.
That's fine.
Thank you.
All right. Are we missing anyone?
Oh, ma'am, I think that's all the union representation.
We are good to go then. Okay. And so, Dr. Reynolds, the last time, did we say every month we would meet, or did we? I feel like we had something else happening.
A part of the conversation was for the meeting to be held every other month.
Yeah.
I think that's where we left off.
Okay.
And if there was not a need for a meeting, and there was consensus, we would be able to cancel the meeting. But we were looking for every other month.
All right. So it is February. We will skip February. Our next meeting will take place in April. This is the last Monday in the month. Do we want to stick with the last Mondays of the month that we do meet? That's one of the things that I wanted to ask. And is this time still good? And also, I want to figure out a way, because to us, it's really about hearing from the union leadership. So how do we get, I feel like we need a vehicle of how we get your feedback for any important issues or topics for our next time that we meet together. So if anyone has like any ideas of how to get that, that will be really good. Dr. Reynolds, of course, please chime in if you have something, in mind as well.
Madam Chair, may I speak?
Yes, Ms. Carey.
I see where the next meeting is going to be in March, and
April.
the next in April, I mean, and the next will be in June. I think we have negotiations going on, and although we're not in the negotiations meetings, I think that if we meet and they would like to discuss anything with us, we should be open to a meeting. I mean, we only have about 3 to 4 more months to go. So it is my suggestion that we use once a month to have the meeting. And if we don't have to have the meeting once a month, then cancel it. But if we do need to meet, then we should have, for the next 4 months, we should have an open date to meet with the unions. That's my suggestion.
Thank you, Ms. Carey. So my thought, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I'm looking at the calendar. The only thing with that, I agree, but next month, March is break. That Monday, that last Monday. So by that default, I think the next meeting, we could just go to April. Unless you want to meet the week before, but that's like, it's up to you.
The week before, to me, I'd have to look at the calendar. We have many committees up and running, so sometimes you feel like you're never off of the laptop. So I'd have to look at that. My only question, Tracy?
Yes, I'm sorry. I was going to say I have the district calendar up from our website, and that does have our committees on it. Thank goodness. It doesn't say the break. I think the break is the week of the 29th in March. So if we did meet the week before, it would be the week of the 22nd, I think, unless I'm picking the break week. It's the break is not listed, so I don't want to accidentally pick the break week.
Isn't Easter the first Sunday in April?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So then the break should be the 29th week?
It is. The break
Okay.
is the 29th.
It's confirmed. The break is the 29th.
So Antoinette, we don't have any meetings scheduled as far as committees for the board or board meeting the week of the 22nd. Although I did hear Mr. Tokarski maybe had some hesitation about that week. I don't know if that's kind of a crazy time for you guys, if it's like right before the break.
I guess not. I will say, listen, it's up to the committee. We did say it will be every other month. So we would be not doing that. So how does the committee feel about having, instead of what we had recommended, which was every other month, going month to month? And if there is nothing on the table for us to discuss, then we can easily cancel. We said about canceling because we just don't want to show up for the sake of showing up. We all have probably other things to do than be on a device again, as we're all probably on all day long. So we can, so I, for the committee, what you guys think about changing to, we can schedule it for each month. If there's nothing on our agenda or on our plate for a month, we won't have that meeting.
Does anybody have any idea about what they might have for March?
Yeah.
I only suggested it because the first half of the year is gone.
Yeah.
And I thought that if we were able to meet for the first, at least once a month until the end of school, when you decide to start up again in January, then you can go back to your every other month. I mean, in September, you can go back to your every other month, but you would have also have some, criteria to work on, until that time. That's what I was thinking, that you can get all
It makes
information.
sense. There's nothing, it makes sense. It's just that I'm thinking, how would we find out if we have, right now, does anybody have anything that they have in mind for March?
If I may offer to, Mr. Bell, were you going to say something?
Yes, I was. I'm sorry for being late. I just, for some reason, I couldn't get on. I just kept putting the password in and they kept kicking me back out saying whatever.
No problem, Mr. Bell.
I apologize for being late, but I'm on the tail end of what you guys are discussing. So I know contractually in our contract, it states that we should meet once a month. So until we amend our contract, as far as the GTF, it should be monthly until we have an agreement that it will be something other than what we have already agreed to contractually on behalf of the GTF.
Fine.
Madam President, if I may.
Go ahead, Dr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. So in line with what Ms. Carey is recommending and with what Mr. James just said, I propose that we meet monthly for the remainder of the 2021 academic year. And if I may also propose, we create a Google Doc where we can capture any ideas or any points of conversation that we would like to have. And we refer to that Google Doc in advance of our meetings.
Okay, so all right, so we'll have a Google Doc for any agenda items. I will say too, if you haven't, I'm not sure if it's posted already on our website as far as our our charges. If not, Dr. Reynolds, if we can share that through the Google Drive with our committee so that everybody can take a look at that and have it in writing what our focus on is for this committee. All right, so we're...
Antoinette, I have the minutes and I'll make sure to share them with all committee members so they can see them until they're approved, and then, we can post it on the board thing.
So I'll be creating a Google folder for
Yes.
us to maintain our documents.
Okay, you're going to create the folder, Dr. Reynolds?
I can if you'd like. If not.
Go right ahead. No, it's fine. It's fine. Just if you could give me access so that I can.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody on this call.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, so we have a Google Doc. We'll have a folder. We can keep all of our items in there for any upcoming ideas. It is 5:20 now, so let me ask, does anybody have any thoughts for next month's meeting now while we're here? I don't know if anybody has anything on their mind as of right now.
I don't have any thoughts for March, but I do have a thought and a question. I was on with the two candidates that was presented to the community for our superintendent search. I'm asking, is that it? Are those two candidates all we have to choose from? Or is this committee is willing to open up the floor again and see if we could get some other candidates?
No, the members that you met with, or the two candidates that you met with, they are our finalists.
The
board will
finalists, okay.
The board will be interviewing tomorrow, the finalists themselves.
Okay.
Thank you for your question. Okay, anything else?
So did we decide, I'm sorry, did we decide the dates? Are we doing March 22nd?
March 22nd for sure, because we didn't see anything on there. All right, anything else on the calendar? So March 22nd, and then are we going to do the last Monday the rest of the way for the remaining months?
April, May, last Monday, April, May, and June.
Yeah, but
I'm looking at the calendar correctly. That would be April 26th, May 24th, as the 31st is a holiday, and
Okay,
then June 28th.
all right. And that's not conflicting with anything.
When is the
June
last day?
28th. Yeah.
Yeah, when's the last day of school?
I was gonna say that sounds kind of late.
I'm forgetting.
That, and I was thinking about graduation as well.
Right.
Yeah.
I was also gonna say that after graduation. Oh, yeah.
Let me
So-
grab it.
Do we want to make that one earlier? Do we want to make that maybe June 14th? Does that sound like a conflict?
Are you getting the dates from the district calendar, Dr.
Yeah.
Reynolds?
I'm
I'm
looking
gonna
at the
give
school
you
calendar.
The online with all of our meetings in there?
No, I'm not looking at that. I'll
Okay.
look at the computer screen.
I have a calendar, but it is the paper copy, and I know that may have changed. So yeah, the last day of school is on the 25th. All right, the 14th right now on the paper calendar, it doesn't have anything on there, and I believe the 21st is
The 14th and the 21st are empty with the online calendar. The online calendar is updated with committee meetings. However, May 24th has the Community Engagement Committee meeting that same night.
yes.
April 26th also has the Community Engagement Committee meeting. So it looks like we did the same thing with that committee.
Yeah, so well, I have you said April?
April 26th is the CEC meeting on
Yeah.
the district calendar online. The 19th is free, the 12th is free, the 27th is free.
Whatever everyone else wants,
Go with the 19th.
April 19th, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we move it a week up, then it would not have a conflict with the last day of school in June.
Okay,
All right.
well, once you're in we're in April, going for April 19th.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay, so are we locked in for the 19th of April?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so if we now go to May, what day are we locked in for May? Because
So
Ms. Mary, you said was a conflict that date too, right?
Right. So in May, the Mondays that are free are the 3rd, which is before the Board of Education, the 10th, the 17th, and the 31st. And you said the 31st is a holiday, right? So,
31st is a holiday.
okay, so
Keeping in line with our current practice, maybe we'll go with May 17th.
17th, okay. 17th. And then in June, I think,
Can I just say one thing? I would also, as the 3 board members on here, that is back-to-back meetings. I just want to put it out there.
which day is that?
The
What's new?
19th of April and the 17th of May.
What's new
17th,
about?
17th of May. Okay, so the 19th of April, it's right, committee meeting and then Board of Ed meeting on the 20th. In May, Antoinette, I don't see anything on the 18th.
On the 18th, it is the election and the budget vote.
Okay, so that's voting day.
Mhm.
Don't do it on a Tuesday.
Oh, our meeting, well, we can do, yeah, that one would be fine, because, all right, so I have May 17th as the next one,
Mhm.
all right? You said which one for June?
14th.
14th.
Okay. Right, and,
We're good with June 14th?
Yeah, okay.
yeah, Flag Day,
There's nothing on the printed calendar with any of the
No.
schools?
no,
No,
no. We're doing March 22nd, okay. All right. Great. June 14th. And May 17th, okay. All right. So we have our next meetings. Dr. Reynolds will set up the Google Drive for us, and we'll have a place for meeting topics if you have it, and we'll go from there. Dr. Reynolds,
Sorry, Dr. Reynolds, can you email me the dates? I'll just create the Zoom.
I definitely will.
Thank you.
thank you. Laser, does anybody have anything else? All right, here.
So just a quick question. So you said there's an agenda or the mission of the purpose of why we're meeting that's been put together?
I'm going to put that into the folder as well.
Okay. And with that mission being put together, the other presidents don't have any say-so in the mission, or is just board driven?
So before you did come in, President Darden asked if anyone had any feedback about it. Do you have a copy of the charges so that maybe you can present any concerns? Or
No, not at this time.
okay, maybe we should get them the charges.
So
They have them.
Dr. Reynolds said that he is going to have it in the Google Drive.
Okay.
But Dr. Reynolds, could you just read it one more time so that Mr. Bell can at least hear it until he does receive the copy of it?
Sure. It is recommended that the charge of the Employment Governance Committee includes, but is not limited to, review of the employment labor relations and compliance-related policies and procedures to ensure conformance with New York State Education Department laws, board policies and procedures, and collectively bargained agreements in order to enhance staff experiences, support a positive working environment, and ensure optimal working experiences for all our faculty, staff, and administration. And recommend actions to the full Board of Education based on committee meeting decisions.
Okay, second question, is there a quorum for the Board of Ed? Because there's 7 on the Board of Ed, if I'm not mistaken. Is there a quorum?
A quorum here or?
For the Board of Ed, because I mean, you have 7 members, so do we have to have a designated member of Board of Ed rep to move forward with this meeting in the future?
No, I'm sorry if I may, Madam President.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is an operational committee. It is not a committee of the board. So we make recommendations to the board for them to act on. As a result, there cannot be more than 3 members of the board on this committee. Otherwise, it would be considered a board meeting. This is not a board meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
No problem. Okay.
I'm sharing the minutes from the last meeting with everyone, so you guys can see it now.
There was a previous meeting to this one?
Yeah, because we had to establish the committee first, and then once we figured that part out, that's when we had to invite everyone in it. So with the different committees, we always usually have to establish it, determine the members, This one was sort of self-guided, but yeah, we've already met prior to. I think the
Just
last.
for a point of clarification,
Yeah.
Madam President. So any committee formed by the board first has to get the charges from the board in order for it to be formed. So this was formerly the Personnel Committee. There was some conversation regarding the term personnel because Personnel Committee and information could be considered to be confidential information. So the board decided to rename this committee and establish the recommended composition, the recommended charges, and the recommended mode of operation. So being that we were in that conversation, being the board members, which included Dr. Chase and myself, once that was established, that was in essence the first meeting. And this is in essence the second meeting so that we can start the board process as we move forward.
Okay, that's fine, and that's. My only concern is that, you know, contractually we have an agreement, the GTF and the Greenburgh School District, about meeting. So, you know, committee was changed or formed and they've had meetings, and I'm not sure if we're not violating our contractual agreement because you've already had meetings or put something together as a committee, and we have a driving force called our contract that clearly states that we should meet monthly. So the language and the logistics of the situation is one thing, but what we have agreed upon, you know, still is contractually binding between the two entities. So you're asking the GTF to forego our contractual agreement and become a part of another committee.
Are we still in public? Is this like still a public session conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to like say real quickly, and I think Mr. Bell, this might have been shared with you prior. Yes, you're right. It is contractually, but we were, and Tracy, you can correct me if I'm wrong. We were, as a board, we're told that we couldn't, we had to meet in a particular way. We had, and which is why we first actually, I think, by the majority of the board had actually voted to not have the committee, which was not the right thing to do, which is so it took a while for us to come back with the committee and get the proper name so that we could hold these meetings. So we're definitely committed to having these meetings for all of the union leaders in our district. We just have to make sure that it was composed, you know, the right way so that we can actually have it.
And,
okay.
and if I could,
So it wasn't a matter of trying to not having the GTF participate. It was, we had to first correct members that didn't, you know, we had to correct the previous action so that we could have, you know, get the meeting up and running again.
Okay.
Let me just make something very clear here. This was a GTF request, and they put it in their contract because they felt that they needed from time to time to talk to the board about certain things that they felt were necessary. I don't know if any other union has it in their contract to meet with the board once a month.
No.
I don't think they do. I think the only one who has is the GTF. And if we're going to go by the GTF contract, then we cannot, how do you call it, put words in or to change words around without checking with what the GTF has as their understanding of why the I'm kind of losing my words. I'm sorry. Why we have had this? We put this meeting together. I think that I understand where Mr. Bell is coming from, since they had no definite input into the changing of the meeting as it is that they have a right to say, this is their meeting. They put it in the contract, and there was certain wording that went with it as it was put into their contract, and we never looked at that. And I think that's something that we should have looked at, and something that we should have considered, part of us putting this committee together. Because I think I suggested that when we put it together years ago, it was the personnel committee based on what the GTF had felt they needed when they met with the board on personnel issues that they felt they could not get satisfaction from administration. I'm going to be very honest. That's what it was put in place for,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why the GTF put it in their contract. So I'm just saying that we turned the committee all around, and I'm not saying it's good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just saying that we should maybe have touch bases with the GTF as we went along to change the name and change the format of the committee. But basically, I want to go back to saying I do not believe that any other union has it in their contract to meet with the board once a month.
Thank you, Ms. Carrie. Tracy Maris.
I was just
Madam-
wondering, I was just wondering about the conversation and discussing the details of the contract. Is that exec session or no?
Yeah, I believe at this point, it was referenced because we had to reference why the name is different. Well, I think we'll have to regroup and have this conversation again, but there is a specific reason why the name was changed. Dr. Reynolds, I don't know if you want to share in that. I believe we did speak about that the last time. There was a specific reason that we did have to change the name.
Thank you very much, Madam President. So conversation as it led up to the point of reestablishing this committee under a different name, under the guidance of our attorneys from the district, in consultation with attorneys or with other school districts across the region. We were one of the few, if any, who employed a committee with the name Personnel Committee for the specific reasons that it could have violated confidential information. Under the advisement of legal and because of the concern that the board had at the time, and I will state that I was one of the people who voiced concern, very strong concern, it was determined that we needed to reestablish the committee because of the GTF contract, but we also had to broaden the scope because this had to be opened up for equity purposes to the other unions in the district because of the scope of the committee, number one, and number two, we had to change the name. So in order to do so, we had to have the approval of the board. It had to have consensus of the board to move forward. And then the board representatives who were chosen for the purpose of the committee had to meet under the name of the new committee in order to establish what the board's goal was for this committee so that we could move forward. That's where we are, how we've gotten to where we are currently.
Madam Chair, I'm not going to prolong this, but I just want to reiterate that this was something that the GTF had requested. And I'm only saying that I believe that we should have been in discussion with the GTF as we went about changing the format of the committee so that they would be able to give their input, is all I'm saying. That was their right. And all I'm saying is that
Ms. Carey, I think no one's disputing what you are saying at all. I think we're just explaining how we got to this point here. No one's disputing what you're saying, Ms. Carey.
I just want you to understand. Okay, thank you.
I definitely understand what you're saying. There are no disputing here, just sharing how we got here.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. I think this is a good idea, and I think we're moving in the right direction. You know, even though I believe this is a good idea and I believe we're moving in the right direction, I'm still obligated to make sure I follow our contractual agreement. So that's only my concern. I don't want to be a president for the GTF that things get changed and then my members ask me questions and it's just like, well, you know, they said change it without having a discussion with the GTF. Because anything that changes in our contract, I have to bring before the body of the GTF members. So, and I think it's a great idea. I really do. I don't think you can have a successful district if we don't involve the civil service, we don't involve the administration, we don't involve the Board of Ed, we don't involve the community. I'm all for being successful for all of us, you know, and I think that's the only way we can do it is having, you know, dialogue across the board. So I support it, but, you know, again, I just said my concern is that we have a contractual agreement, a meeting, and our agreement is not upon sharing a meeting with the other two union presidents. But I think this is a better arrangement. So we just need to look at the language and fix the language in our contract. If that's fair enough.
I don't want to comment on the structure of how you guys change your contract, but I hear what you're saying and I do appreciate that. I think that, you know, you should go back, you know, speak with your members. Again, I guess the thought was one, we were told that like I said, we were told that we could not have, and we were advised not to have a personnel committee. So we followed that strong suggestion. And then with the name, again, our lawyers said that was not a good idea. We came up with the name. And then also with it, I know I strongly advocated for all unions be a part of it because you want to kind of hear everyone's voice. You want to get, you know, you want to hear everyone. So that was the premise of it, was just trying to make sure that it was inclusive of everyone in our district. But yeah, so I mean, Mr. Bell, you know, think about that. Listen, we have opportunities to, I guess you can surely speak with Dr. Chase and Dr. Reynolds, and they will definitely communicate with me as well. But that's how, again, this is how we all got here. And I appreciate Ms. Carey for you sharing your knowledge of what was done in the past. And Mr. Bell, thank you for, you know, also sharing your perspective and your members' perspectives too.
Okay, our 30 minutes is up.
Yes, I'm like, it's 5:43. Laser's probably sweating behind somewhere in Zoom land.
Yeah, I'm watching the clock.
All right.
What time is their next meeting?
There's
6.
6, so we want to make sure he has time to transition over. All right, is there anything else? Tracy.
You know, I always have an ad. So we're gonna get the folder, so everyone will have that. Do you want us to just plug in agenda items? Do we wanna, is that when we're gonna do it?
I would say that if Dr. Reynolds, if you can create some sort of like brief form where it just says March's meeting and people can jot down their ideas there. And I would say you might want to put a little bit of context to it because, you know, not all of us may understand, you know, something that's just a title or something that's there. So whatever information you get, you can share, that would be really good. All right. Does anybody have anything else? Okay, hearing none. It is 5:45. I thank everybody for participating and being here tonight. And I am adjourning this meeting at 5:45.